Welcome to the U World Order Showcase Program, the platform dedicated to highlighting visionary entrepreneurs and coaches who are shaping the U World economy. Each week, we're celebrating the power of the individual and coming together to uplift and empower one another to reach new heights of growth and prosperity as we showcase a coach, company, or entrepreneur stepping out to be the change they want to see in the world. With our collective efforts, we're creating a world where every person has the tools to realize their full potential and thrive like never before. Join us today as we chat with this week's guest to learn how they got started, what they're doing, and how they're making a difference in shaping the U World Order.
Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase program. Today we're talking to Jan Jorgensen, and she has been a nurse, healer, and minister, developed an innovative process for spiritually awakening women to understand their profound, creative abilities, to change her reality with a focus on realizing the fear of speaking her truth. Recording artist, author, tour leader, she launched the Queen's Caravan Spiritual Tour to lead empowerment circles nationwide. She offers a free meditation every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we're happy to welcome her to our show today. Welcome, Jan. Before we got rolling here, Jan was telling me about her caravan camper in the background, which is now decorated.
Well,
so tell us about it.
Women are totally on the go now. I mean, they're getting out there. They're not staying in the kitchen anymore. So I had this idea that my work, my visionary work, working with women to help them find their voice, that I should go on tours. Of course, there's a backstory to that. I moved to the Pacific Northwest, and I felt that I was becoming weaker and my health was failing. And it turns out it's our property. We're on the water. There's trees. It's mycotoxins, and a lot of people get that when they move here. It's so wet. So through amazing coincidences, I said, well, I'm going to go on tours, and I am going to take my work out into the world and sit with women. So the Queen's Caravan Spiritual Walkabout Tour, doing my work off campus, was launched last year in August, and I just finished tour number 3. So as I went on tour number 1 and 2, I noticed the greatest expenditure, and I was seeing, how's the money going when we start something new, was staying in cheap hotels, which weren't really nice. So I had this idea, I've always had this romantic idea, if I could get a gypsy Vardo wagon. Yes, like the kind in France at St. Marie de la Mer, all the gypsies come in with the music. And so I had it in my head and I began to design it. Well, about 6 months later, I photoshopped it and everything, and I looked everywhere. 6 months later, this artist in Maine, he's located in Maine, his name is John Kasnecki, put out on the internet, I'm making this little tiny 5-foot by 8-foot Vardo, and I'm not sure who it's for, and I'm going to let them finish the inside. My whole body lit up. And that's how it is on our spiritual path. So I said, hold it for me. Hold it while I figure out, funding and different things. So as you were interviewing me, I just returned from Queen's Caravan Spiritual Walkabout Tour. I finally got it. Rolled off my tongue. Tour number 3. And I went from the Pacific Northwest over to Maine, sitting and doing circles and doing my work with women. And I went to Maine and I picked up my wagon and I slept in it in KOA campgrounds. And I just want to announce to the world, there's a place called Harvest Host on the internet for $149 a year. I stayed at fancy golf courses. I stayed at farms where they made donuts in the morning in community. I had a ball, which more greatly enhanced my ability to be in community and to teach and share what I do. Anyway, that's an introduction for who I am.
That is so special. And now you've got it all fixed up, and you were telling me you were going to change the picture out because it looks totally different now. So tell us about that.
Well, I had this idea in my mind that I wanted it to appeal to women, their creativity. So just kind of a red background wasn't enough. So I collected things. I collected gold wooden wings and beautiful candles and things. And so because John used to be a metal worker, I went to Maine and I stayed at his home for 3 days. We became great friends, and I got to talk to lobster fishermen in the morning and have lobster rolls. And I love diving into cultures. That's part of my work, the vibration of different cultures. And how can I bring just some little nuance in to spring towards greater expanded awareness of what's coming, the changes in our needed roles. So we laid everything out. It was lightly raining and a big tarp. And I would meditate and I would say, well, where should this ancient little candlestick holder go? On the front, and a mirror on the front. And pretty soon, it's just, as I drove back through the United States, if I went in a campground and I shut my little door, it's a Dutch door, by the way, of course. And I would say hello to people and I'd be tired talking to people about the Vardo. And I would hear moms with children saying, oh, can we take a picture in front of it? It's a adorable hobbit house. And so it has hanging glass votives to hold candles, not real candles, of course, because it's wood, but the
Right.
illumination things. And so I have bells, I have lights, and it's just fabulous. There will be lots of painting. I am a painter, intentional creativity painting teacher, but I think I'll be doing stenciling on some beautiful Florentine gold and the red, essentially gypsy style. Beautiful.
That is so beautiful. I just makes my heart sing. As I was telling you, we built a camper out of wood for our flatbed trailer. But before that, I had been looking at those little caravans and I've fallen in love with them. I just they're just so girly. I know gypsies aren't girly. But.
And I made it a single bed, and I can cook, and I have a copper sink. And yes, if you want, when you post this podcast, if you have a chance to show pictures, it's just adorable. So when I need a little getaway on my property, it's my she shed. We are meditating in the attic today, and I thought, well, I asked him to be quiet, but I went and checked it. It's parked a little bit underneath our trees. We live here in Olympia in a forest, and I couldn't get good what do you call
it?
Reception, but I was going to do it in the Vardo, which I thought would be fun. But it's truly captured people's imaginations. And these days, as I was crossing across the United States, I sense a sense of despair in human hearts that they're not part of the party of being able to monetize their gifts, especially spiritually awakening people. They have a hard time navigating the next step for themselves and how to be okay in the world with a world that doesn't even understand the spiritual awakening at all, or their offerings. So those are the women that I've been wanting to locate. And so I just throw the opportunity out. And I was at this is a good example, I was at my 50th high school reunion, and a friend, someone I always respected and liked, but she wasn't in my inner circle, Laurel said, I've been following you on Facebook, and I feel like you need to come to my community. So I did. It was a bit out of my way, but I'm glad I did. They gave me dinner, rented a space, and here these 12 women came who are spiritually awakening, having intuitive new knowings, but aren't quite sure, again, how it fits in their life or what the wording is. So I keep the wording non-religious and very simple.
Mhm.
And I just say, do you think you are part of the coming beneficial potential changes for Earth? Yes, they all are. They raise their hand. And so the person that invites me, I notice that they have a strength of leadership in that community. So I begin a dialogue of supporting them and giving them the educational tools and coming to a free meditation, whatever it is. I'm setting up little education programs to teach what I know, how to set sacred space, how to therapeutically cathartic your feelings before you blow up, how to talk to authorities and to your intimate partners. And I specifically developed a scientific spiritual process called voice release. And that, when a community is ready for that, it's a very simple toning intentional process. And I bring that in, and people jump light years into their freedom within their body to be themselves, to be authentic. So the third thing that I offer and do is just a simple sound bath with sound. Because that, like the painting, we don't have to talk about anything. We just go into that field of new potentials, and they make an intention at the beginning of the painting event or the beginning of the sound event. They want to get rid of something, fear, jealousy, shame, financial hardship. And then what do they want to replace it with? And I teach them, your thoughts guide everything and hold a vibration, and everything follows suit, which I know you already know this. So. But that's what I'm doing on these tours, as well as private sessions on Zoom. And they actually said that marketing has no value for me, because if somebody sees voice release or this or that, it's the other world. But once they feel the vibration of, I need new information, and they ask, somehow I appear. They Google me, a friend will say, oh, she was just here. And that's why I go out on these tours. For instance, I went to Richmond, Virginia, and gave a tour, because tour 2 I went to, it was a fabulous, sacred site tour. It was Mount Shasta, Sausalito, and Sedona. So I met
beautiful places.
Oh my God, it was so great. So I met a lovely woman in Sedona, and she said, oh, well, if you ever come by Richmond, well, I was traveling across the United States. So I stopped and did an event at her sister's home, and her mom came, and the whole thing just began a family healing for the three. And they said it was magic what you brought to our family. And what's interesting is it's been kind of a mystery to my own family what I do. Why? They're not ready. It's not a resonance they can see. But I asked my sister-in-law if she would like to come. So there I was, holding a sacred space, doing voice release in this family lineage and the trauma. And at the end, it was so cute. She says, I'm not sure how or what you did, she said, but it was profound. And everyone in that room was different when you were done. So that helped me not feel so outside the circle of normalcy and third dimensionality, which, to be honest with you, as light workers, we are tired of that feeling. I know I'm tired of it, and I want to help dissipate some of the fear. These communities that I go to help dissipate that fear that they're going to be different if they become authentic and speak up the truth.
Don't you just feel the change in it? It's really, in the last couple of years, so intensified, of people wanting to step into their power and into who they authentically are. And they're making connections on a more personal level. It's like we were locked up for a couple of years, and now we just want connection, but we want real connection. We don't want to go to Walmarts and the big box stores. We want to go and buy local, and we want a story behind the things that we are holding and bringing into our lives.
We want meaning. We want quality. We want to access people, places, and things that are of a vibration that help us be to feel okay. And increasingly, it doesn't feel okay. People, places, and things that aren't holding that vibration. And here's why. There is a divine plan that is designated for Earth to occur in the years of the 2000s. We know that there are many of us here that hold an internal compass to meet and have synchronicity in a certain timing. And you are correct. The divine plan got severely held up because those that were born and were to remember and initiate these changes got balled up. They got balled up with COVID. They got balled up with sickness. They got balled up. And they refused to change. So our spiritual selves see everything as an open highway, but here on the earth, and I think the divine plan got jammed up because everybody underestimated humans' reluctance to change because of fear. I don't know how many women I meet and they'd say, well, I'm having these visions. Am I going crazy? I said, no, it's your time clock kicking in and you're in the right place. I met a woman in Maine who was referred to me because I was going through, will you please talk to this woman who's having severe visions, interdimensional experiences, all sorts of things. And because I've been doing this for quite a while and have studied with masters and taught. I taught at the Sound of Conscious Institute, now Globe Recording, with leading scientists, sat on panels, so many trainings. Nothing shocks me, and we all have a different part, and some of the parts are completely out of the box, and there's no manual for people to feel like there's any grounding or normalcy to it. So I don't know who listens to your podcast and what level of development they are.
They're from all over.
Oh, good. Well, I'm going to say
talk
something.
To everybody.
I'm going to say something that's a little, okay. As part of the waking up process, they get to a certain point, you say, well, where am I from? And what am I here for? And that's where I become like a way station, a cheerleader, and I actually am an ambassador here to facilitate the awakening support, remembrance of their mission for light workers of a certain nature doing their work. It's a very organized plan. So they recognize me. They're told by Spirit, find Jan. And they'll say, where is she? Well, right now she's here. So it's almost a need to know basis. And it's just very powerfully happening. And when I meet someone, I don't tell them where they're from, but I can take them into a space where they are not only very clear and acknowledging through the very simple processes that I bring, and I've learned many of them from Caroline Corey, one really immense spiritual teacher, but from this place of ability to access different information through your consciousness, I teach very simple navigational tools. And to my surprise, do you think there's different beings, different organizational systems, and different planetary Pleiadians, Arcturians? Well, they all have languages. And to my surprise, though I have been a singer for 30 years, anthroposophical singer, and learned to sing 5 octaves and can hear a note and rework things, to my surprise, when working one-on-one or a very advanced group, I actually became a communication circuit board and could speak the language that that human being was originally from at their planetary source. I call it light language. So that's been a wonderful part too. It's like a toolkit that I have that goes unmentioned, because you can't go around, but at the right time and right place. Yesterday I did a session with a woman and she cried She said it was as if my very own mother was saying, oh, now come on, we're here, and let's get on with your life in the direction you're meant to. So I'm so happy that I can support light workers in getting more confidence and stepping out. And I'm so happy that I feel more safe and comfortable being who I'm meant to be through interviews like this. Thank you, Jill.
Well, I am really glad that you can share this with us. It's important work. It's interesting work, and it's kind of inspiring that you following your passion, though I'm not so sure that your passion didn't choose you for a specific reason.
Absolutely right. You're right on that. I remember I was at my 50th birthday party. I was married to an orthodontist, had everything. And they had a comedian come, and he was joking about how much chocolate I eat. That's the food of angels. And I gave my daughter $300 and said, go buy cakes. I mean, I felt like a princess with no purpose, or queen. And she brought all these cakes. And I remember thinking, is that all there is? Is that all there is? So I started looking, and I started paying attention. What is next for me? I'd been a professional singer in Las Vegas my whole life. I always had severe anxiety, and that's why I did the voice release. But I also had been a nurse. So someone said, well, why don't you sing at the bedside? And I said, oh, yeah. So I went to hospice, and for 6 years, I listened for the note. And because I had studied all that vocal stuff and had this ability, I listened for the note and asked that body what they needed. And I would use my voice, and I have a lyre. And I would feel, the feeling state was, I wasn't nervous. I was in complete service. And something unzipped and opened up that I was still in my human body, but this state of grace. And I said, I don't know what that is, but I want to figure that out, and I want to feel that way all the time. So I actually had to step out of my marriage because I was so busy being a socialite and wine tastings. I just couldn't do both. So I stepped into figuring out vibrations, intentional consciousness, and I said, this is the aha moment, if I can support a human with releasing fear of dying, what is a greater fear humans have than dying? Speaking, public speaking, especially women. And so I began working and feeling other people had the same problem I had with males, with authority. I had a lot of narcissistic male energy, where even if I knew how to speak up, so I actually chose all my life experiences to create voice release, which to me, I'm doing my PhD on it, which, oh my God, someone said today, well, you'll be a doctor in 2 months. And I'm like, who, me? And I'm just so tickled that I took the energy to put that together. Why? Because it strengthens the message, the platform, in my ability to reach more women that need it.
I think incorporating what people are calling the woo with the science, there is so much science behind what people have said is just like, oh, that's just crazy stuff.
Yes.
But more and more, it's like, no, like, for example, meditation. Meditation is one of those things that only those, people that are like super spiritual or monks, they meditate. But meditation has so many positive effects on your whole being, on your happiness, on your ability to concentrate, on your ability to learn, to take in information and to assimilate it. It helps you rewire your brain, and it helps your body chemistry. And there's like actual scientific evidence that proves this. It's not just some woo-woo thing that...
Yes. And in our profit-driven system, my master's degree was in healthcare systems delivery. Only groups like Kaiser that make money by not giving you services champion holistic practices. Even Medicare, no. Why? Because the lobbyists and the money, and now they're in hand with science. Science, 70% of all biology experiments are non-reproducible. They are claiming what they wish to perpetrate on humans for the next profit. Okay?
So call them the medical industrial complex.
That's it exactly. You put your finger on that. And so we all know that there's a truth that is not honored, and it's not part of their profit system, and yet it's very important. David Hawkins wrote a book called Power versus Force, and on the scale of 1 to 10, 10 absolute truth, and 1 fear, control, horrific, science only goes to the level of 4. Now, recently, you cannot say that the quantum field theory is untrue. It's proven. And how things affect each other, quantum entanglement. We have Bruce Lipton, we have Lynn Taggart, we have all of these leading people who were fringe before, but now with leading scientists. And Caroline Corey recently made a few movies, God Among Us, and it was very clever how she did it. Ivy League leading scientists who were already doing the scientific work out of the box and made them feel safe enough to make a movie about it. You can change the pH of water, Reiki, energy, okay? My friends and I, we experiment when 2 or more are gathered and we line up our consciousness, we can effect a measurable change. For instance, I said, my grandson is coming and there's such a heavy smoke cloud over Olympia and that's not going to work. So I ask and intend, those are the magic words. Everything I teach, I ask and intend that the air clear to the green color just over Olympia for the time my grandson's here, 7 days. I had my partner track it, and I called in, another strong healer or a navigator of vibrational fields. And my partner's eyes were popping out. The first day it was red over Olympia, then the next day orange, the next day yellow. No, by day 3, the day of his arrival, it was green just over Olympia. And then the day he was to leave, halfway through the day, the smoke started coming back in. So these things are true and valid. And the corporations that fund the research that is only 70% reproducible or true, they don't want to give power to people who they can't profit from. However, our government and different agencies will cite Rife machines and different things that could have a great health effect and will target them as troublesome and bothersome, uncertified, and send people in and get rid of them and threaten to not use them. But you know what? I don't need to think about that because my work is teaching people what their truly God-given skills of using discernment, their thinking, and intentional consciousness to change their reality for healing, for circling up with other people. And as you said, there's a divine plan. The vibrational fields coming in available to us first were kind of little steps and now big chunks. So you're either on board or not. People's souls have decided.
That's what the whole New World Order thing is about. It's about people awakening and stepping into their power, and it's connecting one-on-one, but the one-on-one connections ripple.
Yes.
You and I have this conversation, but this conversation goes out and it affects other people, and other people hear the message, and then change happens. Yes. Just like that.
You are here and your community is here, and you have allowed me to come in and to potentize with my vibrational field your community. And all the people that this is me, this is my community, all the people I've interviewed, and then they go stand. Actually, I developed, it's a template for the New World Order. Really, truly. It's circular, it's feminine, it's taking turns, sharing and leading with our mastery. It's inclusivity. It's the exact opposite, of course, of Jeff Bezos' top-down, I own so much of all the resources.
That's why I call it the U World Order. It's instead of the New World Order, because it's the U World. It's focused on you and how you are part of an interconnected, and you as an individual are extremely important in the whole connection of everyone, of all the energy. We all intermingle on some level.
It's not going to happen unless it comes through us.
Mm-hmm. We are creating the world we want to see.
Exactly. I am a circuit board for the frequencies that allow things to light up. That's my assignment through sound, even through my voice coming through. You and I, our frequency fields are going together. We have expanded the envelope. It's like we're baking a cake for a new reality, and we're adding new spices all the time. And when we get to a certain tipping point, I mean, all of this is harmonically orchestrated, and that's why things got held up for a while, because people's circuit boards that were supposed to be lit up and percolating and adding to the mix were pulled offline. And there are other outer planetary forces of skirmishes, and not all universal and galactic forces and agendas are the same, of course. But this divine plan is fail-proof. We have been here. This team has been here, Lemuria, Atlantis, Egypt, and this time it's fail-proof. It surrounds the planet in a multitude of ways. I mean, in Egypt, they try to get the chamber with the lights and the new, bigger vibration. And when Christ was here, his team, they took on the full dose of Source himself and the disciples. And so this implantation of Source energy on Earth is accomplished. And now we have to keep upping it and holding it. And that's why all these ascension symptoms, because we ourselves. Now, here's another thing, and I forget this. The angelic realm, or whoever you pray to, could be anybody, archangels, divine masters, they are just sitting around waiting for us to ask them for information and help and support. And that's another thing I do, is get those communication systems going, because we can feel so isolated. And I love this story I tell. I was in one of my, oh my God, am I done? Am I done? Am I done? I was camping, and, I just gotten the divorce, and I felt like, wow, I've done a lot of light work. Maybe I'm done. I said, I'm so exhausted. So to my surprise, careful what you ask for, my consciousness went, and off I went. And there I was, heaven, delightful light beings. And there was such a sense of familiarity and comfort. I do know where I'm from now. But at that time, I'm like, oh my God, I died. I went to heaven. But these lovely voices said, you're not done yet. And you have your biggest work is ahead of you. And you can't see it yet. You're not ready, because the divine plan will unfold for all of us together comfortably. And the movie would kind of go like this if you went too far in the future. They said, but let's give you a revibration. And now we want you to go back in that tent and squeeze your thighs. Of course, we say, no, I don't want to leave. And they said, go back in the tent, squeeze your thighs. They said, can you still hear us? I said, yes. They said, are you still here with us? I said, yes. They said, now open your eyes. I opened my eyes. They said, now can you still hear us? Are you still with us? And I said, I don't get it. And they said, Jan, only in your limited perception were you ever separate. That changed everything. If I have to go, we're all empaths listening to this. If I have to go talk to a group of entrepreneurial women, some of them barracudas, and teach them how to use their voice because their voices are calling card to the world. Do you want to keep attracting the same, or do you want to release stuff and attract new people? But I feel them thinking, well, who is she? What is this? Blah, blah, blah. So before I begin speaking, I squeeze my legs and I say, I need my big girl help. I need for the bigger Jan to speak through, who doesn't monitor their reaction or what they think of me, because the message is more important than what they think of me. So I'll do that. I'll squeeze my legs, and I always wonder if anybody sees me.
Probably not.
That's my technique. One of my techniques to overcome fear of speaking is to go straight to that, okay, what does this group need to hear that they might not quite be ready? When I first started this work, this guy, Peter, said, after my marriage, being a dental wife, he looked at me and laughed, says, you have no idea who you are or what your work's going to be. I said, no. He said, you're going to be on stages or whatever and running energy. And there's going to be people in that audience who think, this woman is nuts. But the ones who are ready to hear it, you have to say it full bore as it's given to you, because they need that activation, that spark plug. And the others often will come up later and say, oh my God, I finally got what you're saying. So I'm saying that to encourage anyone thinking, well, I can't even tell my family what I'm into. And it's how you say it. If you say it with no fear, like, oh my God, I'm exploring where I'm from in the universe, they can hear that rather than saying, I found out I'm a Pleiadian and I don't really belong.
Yeah, that doesn't go over very well.
And my true mom and dad are there, and this person over here was my child in another life. Gag me. Yeah, so we have to be fair with where people are at if we are light workers, languaging, presence. And so on the Queen...
Sometimes just knowing when not to say anything at all.
Yes, it's not necessary, just your vibration. So being part of the Queen's Caravan Spiritual Walkabout Tour and Harvest Host, I ended up going to a church and sleeping overnight in their parking lot. And the young minister and his wife took me in, pictures, and I'm listening. And one of the first things he says is, well, people who do yoga and New Age people work with demons. He said that. And I just sat there and said, forgive him, for he does not know yet. Inclusivity, it's not demons, it's just not Jesus. Everybody else it's not Jesus, it's a demon. So I had to breathe, and then my table mates I so connected with. And even though they were treating me like a beloved guest, he was speaking as if I was the other. So interesting. So I crossed the bridge and I made that vibrational connection. And who knows, he may hear me talking about this sometime and give it some thought, or I may speak to him sometime. But I allow people to have their beliefs, because most people's beliefs are hard-boiled. And I don't care what face on the ladder that you need to talk to and hold on too tight to connect with Source. That's your business.
Yeah, and everybody's entitled to want what they want, and everybody's on a different journey, and that's kind of what makes the world interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
More and more people are waking up to the opportunities that having an open mind allows you to have.
Yes. I sat with a group of Mormon women, leaders in the church, and did some frequency and sound work, and we had dialogues, and I could feel the divine feminine emerging powerfully within these women, within that container, finding their voice. And I tell women, it's not like we have to fight about things. We just hold the vibration so strong. And through physics, we know lower vibrational fields will always recalibrate to the higher vibration. So I somehow have always kind of, I don't know, all of us light workers have picked situations, relationships that need light. And so you know what I'm talking about, hanging in there with patience and love, because the miracles do happen, the pop-throughs, the breakthroughs, and those that are promised their souls want to go into the new higher vibrational paradigm. There will be a shift where the two shall never meet. We want to be there for our loved ones who are struggling and are confused, not to our own detriment, of course. We have to, weigh things out. And a lot of women have come to me and said, I'm not sure if I'm going to go the distance with this partner. So I wrote a book, Guy's Guide to the Divine Feminine. And it's for the partners of the awakening women to give her some space and to acknowledge the changes she's going through, how profound and wonderful they are, and to not try to step in the middle of that woman and her spiritual connection, because that's not going to work.
Have you read the Oralinda books?
Aravinda?
Oralinda.
Oh, that sounds very familiar. Tell me about that.
It's a different origin story. It was a manuscript that was found in the bogs in Switzerland or Scandinavia, somewhere in there, and translated. And it's the story is more about women in power versus a matriarchal society rather than a patriarchal society, and how history unfolded, and there's a flood story in it, and it's just an interesting perspective of what happened rather than this one piece of hair that keeps going in my eye. Sorry.
It sounds like the chalice and the blade, where it makes us realize the changing of the guard and how it occurred. My grandma always said the pendulum swings all the way one way. And the real severe matriarchy, they marginalized, they were like queen bees, and made the men just service them. So where's the equality in that? In fact, there's a movie that came out, I wish I could remember the name, where that in fact happened in real time in our age right now. And it made you stop and look to say either of the sexes dismissed or disrespected or not equal. And now we're swinging back to the middle. We're swinging back.
People can just be who their soul was designed to be, and allow them to exist. Yeah, so Jan, let's cover the one last thing that I really wanted to ask you, and that is, what is your number one struggle with getting your message out?
Well, I would say number one is that he told me I really don't need to market, but sometimes I get frustrated because I have these books that I write about what I'm going to do, and I hire people to go to pitch them to all the publishers, and they always say, well, the public's not ready for this, or it's not simple enough sound bites. I feel like my work is complex, and the society isn't ready for it. So that's why I go in a lot of podcasts, because I just throw a big net, and I think that's the way to do it, through resonance. I'm always taking marketing courses and different things, but there is a golden integrity meter in me that I can't say early bird special. I can't do anything that cheapens the body of work. And I would love to be to a place. I heard John Gray, Venus and women, men from Mars, women from Venus. And he essentially summed up how the feeling state that I would like is, he said, well, I have a body of work. And he said, I don't market, people call me. Now, people do call me. And when they do, and we make that connection, it is huge, it is profound, there is great respect. But there's always this part of me of, I haven't made it in a way that could ever really, truly financially support what I want to do and be in life. So that point has been disappointing. And I keep my price points safe for light workers. For instance, $175 an hour for someone I don't know, $88 for 45 minutes. And I think that people that really value me could find that for 45 minutes or $100 for an hour. But I know there's a lot of other people doing my work that will claim miracles. And though I've had substantial, complete witness turnarounds of long-term chronic illnesses and things, it's not within my realm to claim that I am a healer or that I'm going to fix anybody, because I have skills, again, to realign vibrations of a lot of things. But it must be so that people are empowered in connecting for themselves and helping them see the future. It's not how I see the future. My goal is to teach people to do what I do. How many people are ready for that? How can I articulate that? It's not everything in the society is a quick fix.
I'm surprised the number of people that are ready for that, though.
More and more.
More and more, and they're actively looking for people to guide them.
I'm here. I mean, I have a coaching program. I can work with the person for 3 months. And as a follow-up, I don't know when you're going to deliver this, but I have ongoing, I'll be offering classes for people to plug in. And essentially it's saying, learn to do what I do. And for this summer, there will be 3 courses. It's affordable, $150 for 3 courses, 3 Saturdays. And so all of this they can learn about by getting on my email newsletter list, which is on the front page of my website, which is...
What is that web? What's the website?
Sound and A-N-D. lighthealingarts.com. And I know you're going to put that with the blog, but if you go on there, I do just for people who need it free and just can get consistent. Every Wednesday morning I lead, it's called a Be the Light meditation, where I take you through the process of mastering the ask and intend process to rid yourself of things or bring in new things or go to the future, talk to your home, whatever. I have like 300 YouTube videos out there, and they all are labeled with the topic. So I'll tell you what that is. Jan Jorgensen, Be the Light, and Soar. Soar is that template, this template of new organizational sounding our authentic resonance. That's what SOAR means. And the Queen's Caravan tours, I do fun little videos when I meet people and visit. Okay, here's the good one. I make the intention to make a difference. So I go to Washington, D.C. with my brother and his wife because their daughter works there, head legislative aide. But we get separated. And I'm standing there, and next to me, streaming by, is every senator of the United States leaving chamber. So I'm going, I ask and intend that they hold a high vibration, the highest good for everyone. Here goes Lindsey Graham right next to me. There's Bernie. Hi, Bernie. I ended up in the strangest corner all by mistake. Oh, no, it gets better. We're in the Capitol Rotunda, and there is the foremost ran for president, Cory Booker. And he's standing there with a bunch of people, looks bored, and I go, like this. He breaks from his group, comes over and says, hey, you got a camera? Let's do some selfies. Gets my camera, and we do selfies, and I'm like in a state of shock. And then I said, I can't wait to tell my grandson. And he says, what's your grandson's name? So he says, hi, Collie, your grandma really rocks. I want you to know. And I turn around to my brother and I go, I just got filmed with Cory Booker, and he talked to Collie, and my brother and his school teacher wife were looking at the ceiling the whole time. And so they're like, you what? And I showed him the video. So I made the intention, and I have this video with Cory Booker. He saw and felt my intention. And then we went to the Senate, and he happened to be in charge, sitting up in the front with the microphone, calling on people. He looks up and he waves at me. And I look around like, oh, come on. Are you kidding? And my sister-in-law says, I think he's waving at you, Jan. So anyway, he waves again, bigger, and I wave, and he went like this.
Aww.
And I'm like, my sister-in-law, who had just gone to the course with me, she says, Jan, I totally get now what you're about. You are creating your reality. She said, it's stunning. The senators coming through. And she said, you do it all so effortlessly. Well, because I don't overthink it. Those things were not planned. I let spirit orchestrate those synchronicities.
There's probably some synchronicity in there between you two that maybe you're not aware of, or maybe he's not aware of, that allowed for the connection. It's like maybe somebody you knew in a different life or Absolutely. From a different place, that your souls connected.
Recognized each other.
Yeah, they recognize each other.
On the same team.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so delightful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Jan, thank you so much for spending this time with us and sharing all about the important work you're doing. And it's been our pleasure having you here.
Well, I'm so thrilled we had this time together. And who knows, maybe our caravans will meet up sometime.
That would be fun. You're up in Washington. I'm going up there this fall. My sister lives up in it.
Feel free to stop in. We have plenty of property here in the water. A guest room. Would be lovely to have you check.
That's awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to the You World Order Showcase program. We hope today's episode has inspired you to consider how you can leverage your unique skills and talents to be the change you want to see in the world. If you're ready to take the next step and turn your passion into a 5-figure part-time business, we invite you to schedule a private consult at heartlifecoach.com. During our Passion to Profit Breakthrough session, we'll work together to identify your strengths, clarify your vision, and develop a tailored plan for achieving your goals. Don't settle for mediocrity or let fear hold you back from pursuing your dreams. With the right guidance and support, you can build a thriving business that brings you joy, financial freedom, and the opportunity to make a positive impact in the world. Head over to heartlifecoach.com today to schedule your Passion to Profit Breakthrough session and take the first step towards creating the life you've always wanted. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the You World Order Showcase program.